I'm going to draw, but first I'm going to play a video. All right, it's a drawing video. Surprise. All right, I worked on this last night. I really like where it's going. This was a rough pencil, but some of it looks basically done. So I'm going to do this just a little bit differently. Should I go back to Twitter? Answer no. Yeah, the question was asked facetiously. I'm not going back to Twitter. Let's see, where do I start? So I'll start with panel 1. So what's the news? I work all the time and don't keep up with the comic book news. Yeah, the music is copyright-free music, so my options are limited. Start with a perspective grid as usual. Some of this stuff won't have to be redrawn, which is good. Yeah, I might try some different music. This is the Photoshop cheat way to do perspective. Yeah, just put each axis, I suppose, on a different layer. Put it on multiply, and then I use the transform and distort command and just drag it where it needs to go. And it's done. And then I merge the layers together. Then I can trim off the edges. How do I get a straight digital line? You, when you're making a stroke, you hold down the Shift key. I do not want to waste my time. I was just joking. I'm really not going back on Twitter. We left Twitter like a year ago. It was just too insane. We had big followings, both of us. And then it just became a tool for weaponized harassment more than anything else. I could be the Jane Goodall of Twitter. That's funny. It's a hell site. No sane person should be there. I don't know that there are many anymore. It was fun at first. And then your wife gets told that she has to tell stories out of school. I guess I won't name names. My wife was told if she wanted back in the club, she would have to divorce me, which she thought was pretty funny. So Anyway, that happened. One of the many bizarre things that came out of our Twitter experience. If you want back in, you'll have to file for divorce to prove your loyalty. Crazy people. It's actually kind of amazing how less dramatic our lives are. And all you gotta do is walk away from stuff. It's a good question, Coach. In Lunacy, will the Saints book from the Indiegogo campaign be a complete story arc or just the first 2 or 3 issues of an ongoing story? So it is it's the setup for the ongoing story, but it ends it's like the first act, I guess you might say, the first act. But with all the good comic books, every act contains its own 3-act structure. So it's both a complete story, but also the opening of a larger series. It's just a way that our readers and those who really want a collectible piece and want a first look, you can get a first look in a collectible package that won't be printed that way again. And it's going to be a low print run, as all Indiegogos and crowdfunds are generally. And it'll come with other collectibles that we won't make again. So it's a collectible piece in a first look premiere. So what's the news? I need you guys to keep me updated. What's going on in comic books? All right, there's some news. Does Marvel not have the Conan license? Or is Conan now public domain? New comics don't sell? We're selling new comics. Four customers in the place and no one looked at new books on the shelf. Wow. Conan's public domain in Europe. That's interesting. I'm going to get you guys some numbers here real quick. Average weekly customers, Walmart. All right, this says in fiscal year 2021, there were approximately 240 million customer visits each week to Walmart stores throughout the world. That's down from a 265 million weekly average a year earlier. But, you know, circumstances. So we don't even need 0.01 of those customers. Like, you're talking about a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. It's 240 million customer visits per week. I did hear about Warren Ellis. I don't know the full story, so I can't really comment. And probably I shouldn't comment on it either way. Hire Warren, he's probably going to be willing to work for almost anything. Warren blocked Elizabeth on Twitter, so I'm not sure why. I guess she's a known harasser. I don't really know. Anyway, I'm not like I don't really get Superwoman fuzzy feelings from Mr. Ellis. But I wish him well. But we're probably not going to hire him. But nothing's ever written in stone. DC is shelf rot, says Clay. My local shops are sitting on stacks of DC. Well, that's very bad for comic book stores. But I certainly have no comment on my competitors. Yeah, you don't mess with the queen bee. That is not winning friends and influencing people. Honestly, that should be required reading. How to win friends and influence people. That should be required reading for comics, I think. Maybe for art school. Actually, that's a great idea. I've been thinking for a while, like if what we were doing turns out to be like successful beyond our wildest dreams, what I'd actually do with that success. And I think, wildly successful. I mean, out of the realm of likelihood, but not out of the realm of possibility. So I think what I might do is fund. This is just pipe dream stuff, but like give an endowment, perhaps to my alma mater or some other worthy school with a decent art program, and actually focus on art, comic book art, storytelling, and art, sequential narrative from a business perspective. and a marketing perspective. Because I think art schools leave their students high and dry in a lot of cases and unprepared for the nature of a always evolving cultural and business landscape. In which case, I'll probably will make How to Win Friends and Influence People required reading. Dumbest Name believes that mainstream books are getting dumber. We're mainstream books. So, I hope people don't think our books are dumb. But I'm sure some people do. That's okay. That's the angle I want. Big 2. Gotcha. Well, if customers feel they're slipping, then they'll look for alternatives, which, we'd certainly be happy to provide alternatives, and we're doing that as best we can. Ultimately, the customer will buy what speaks to them. That's not the angle I want for that wagon. So he's pulling a wagon of flyers. It's there and there and engine. When did I go full digital? Somewhere in episode 1 of Red Rooster. Because I just had to get it done, and we spent so many years doing a lot of coloring work that I just got very comfortable with Photoshop. I'd love to do stuff by hand, and I like to sketch, of course, a lot when I have the time. But for production art, just the way I approach it, this seems to make the most sense. Or maybe I'll ink a few pages by hand, so that might be fun. But I've actually penciled digitally since probably about 2009 or 10. And then I was inking by hand. And then as the technology got better and I just got more used to it, I just kept at it. All right. So I've got the wagon on a different plane, and there's also a trick to creating an object on a different plane, so without losing your... It's hard to tell you how I do it without showing you. But let's say if you, on your original perspective grid, your east and west axis are, let's say, 1.5 feet apart, right? So when you change the angle of an object, you're going to have a new plane, but the distance, so long as an object is rectangular or square or whatever, the distance between those two vanishing points does not change. So you simply slide them down, but they're still 1.5 feet apart. And if they're not, then it's going to look like you have a different camera lens for different objects in your drawing. Does that make sense? Anyway, there's some masterclass stuff for you. wagon wheel. And the axle. All right, so this is a Red Rooster branded wagon, of course. So all I do here is drop an object in and then I'll make it line up with, make the handles line up with my respective grid. Which can sometimes be a little tricky. All right, so let's show you what I've got here. Oh, I've got one yes for Twitter. Yes, post updates on your projects only. And no replies allowed. It will drive people mad and spread your posts. So can you do that? You can turn off replies? Is that possible? So we got one vote for Twitter. I don't know. We had a miserable time. Yeah, because so Hammer of Doom says yes, you can turn replies off. Interesting. Only people you follow can reply. Oh, I probably ought to include his bicycle, but I'm feeling kind of lazy. No, I'm not. I seriously doubt I'll do that. The company has a Twitter account, so we have an Allegiance Arts Twitter account that our girl Kathleen manages, but she doesn't like to go there either. I just don't think it's been very positive for the comic book business as a whole. And there's just something about their business practices I'm not super crazy about. I bet those for a few other companies, but just you get the culture you cultivate. And we're having a lot of success avoiding it. So why bother? It hasn't stopped us from making any deals or selling any books. And in fact, I think it could become a liability. It's what somebody. It's who knows what could happen. I don't want to jinx anything, but like people can just sling around accusations and drag you into all kinds of crazy stuff. And sometimes it's just best to be out of sight and out of mind of reckless wackos. So sometimes it is better just not to engage, but just simply not to even be around. And sometimes you just don't. I mean, you want to be on customers' minds in a positive way, but you don't want to be on crazies' minds because that's just gonna get you. It goes nowhere good. One panel down, 51 minutes in. To be honest, I could probably ink panel 2. but I better tighten it up. All right, simple. A simple grid. This grid doesn't need to be super complex because it's just landscapes. Oh, I forgot his cape. I was like, I don't remember drawing the back of Marcus's overalls. Marcus wears a cape because he idolizes the Red Rooster, of course. Cape is a lot easier to draw than a pair of overalls. I don't like about it doesn't have like a real sense of emotion. It's a conjoined tree. Those are spooky. Oh, man. Did you know that in ancient Sumeria, the name of the moon was Sin? Isn't that weird? Nobody else thinks that's weird but me, I guess. What did they do in ancient Sumeria? They wrote epic poems like Gilgamesh. They thought humans came from the Anunnaki. who came here to mine gold from Nibiru. And they're credited with the first written, I don't know if it's the first written language, but they're cuneiform tablets. They wrote on clay, but I don't think it was the first language, or written language. I think language is a lot older than that. And they believe they were survivors of an ancient cataclysm, which is pretty spooky. Oh, I found some that they did something weird. No, they called the moon, the name for the moon was Sin. And they believed that ancient humans dwelled in a place called Eden. Isn't that weird? I love that stuff. Bar tab, that's pretty funny. My newest topic of curiosity is this thing called Squatter Man. Has anybody heard of Squatter Man? It's nuts. Apparently there's this stick figure that in the late Paleolithic was drawn all around the world. And it has two discs at his side. His arms are up and his legs are kind of like, cowboy legs, like bow-legged. And he was drawn all over the world around the same time. Very strange. Yeah, it's the same figure, and they're drawn in much the same way in cultures prehistory or lost to time, I suppose. I guess prehistory is the right word. Paleolithic. Squatter Man. The world is so super weird. It's kind of awesome. Honestly, it's all so freaking amazing that why would you want to be on Twitter? It's I don't know what to say. There are so many perplexing and amazing mysteries out there, and then people just spend all day sniping at each other. It's freaking climbing a social ladder. To me, it's just bonkers. Humans are silly. Yeah, that's pretty much what I believe. Although I think there were several floods, there was definitely one at the end of the Ice Age. I think that's pretty much, I think that's scientific fact at this point. But there was also in 6,000 years ago before present, I think it's 6,000 BP, the Black Sea went from a lake to a salton sea. And they know because the difference in the types of mussels that were found. It went from the fossils of non-saltwater mussels to saltwater mussels, like basically overnight, historically speaking. So there was some type of like massive flood or something. Or some type of climactic event. 6,000 BP. But there's definitely something like massive at the end of the Ice Age, because within like a span of 200 years, almost all the mega mammals except for the mammoths went extinct. Either they were drowned or burned, or they just starved to death because the resources were wiped out. That really wasn't that long ago, from a certain point of view. Yeah, what do they call that? Doggerland. That was called Doggerland. It used to be above water. All right, there's the first two panels. Oh, I've lost my red rooster. Dang it, it got deleted. That's okay. All right, that's an hour and a half. It's hot. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to take a break. But it's been fun. Check out The Saints. Thank you very much. See you on the flip side.